Welcome. Uh, so we have the webinar on Introduction to HVAC and Industrial Approach from ACE India Training and Services Private Limited. But you can always visit our website at www.theaceindia.com. And very good afternoon. I am myself Syed Nasif. I'm the director of the company. I'm a BTech mechanical engineer, MBA in sales and marketing. I'm a technical coordinator as well as a design coordinator in my company, along with being a director of the firm. So I take care of design and training. So let us go through the ground rules which are required for almost every session today. In modern day webinar sessions, like after the lockdown, after the COVID situation, you have to go. You might have gone through all these ground rules before a lot of sessions. We have muted you guys at the entry of the session itself. The QA session will be at the end of the session. Okay, I have Kartika who has joined up right now. Welcome. QA session will be at the end of the webinar. Okay. The chat window will be responded at the in between. I'll respond, and also, of course, at the end of the program, I'll be responding. So, okay, keep a writing pad and pen nearby so that if you have any queries, you can make it note and call at the end of the ask at the end of the session. Then there is no need to switch on the video right now. If you have any images, you can keep up. A lot of you guys have switched off your videos itself right now. If you have any questions directly, you can choose at the end of the session again. Raise hand option is there. The host will try to unmute you at that point, or you can always go by the chat window. Understood? Okay. Please, I have given access to write on the screen. Please don't use that for now. Okay. So let us start the session with what is HVACR. Okay. So here the full forms are, as you know, it is heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration. This comes under MEP. I have some time back, say 2-3 weeks ago, I have taken again a webinar on MEP and building services. That was an introduction again on the whole infrastructure industry along with MEP and building services. When you consider a building, you have three main divisions which are required to realize a building, correct? That is a civil and structural, architectural, and MEP. Under MEP, that is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. You have under the mechanical half, you have HVAC. Most of you guys might be from the electrical or mechanical or civil or architectural background. You should understand that. Okay, you should understand that the program, the HVAC sector will be coming under the refrigeration and air conditioning industry mostly. And this is also called as, say, in the older days, we used to call it as MVAC, mechanical, ventilation, and air conditioning also. And I have given a suffix of R because obviously you should understand that HVAC along with refrigeration is always coming together. So inside a building, you will have these all requirements. Along with buildings also, there are industrial applications as well, like process applications. We'll come to that. So you have heating here. Generally, when you do heating is about increasing the temperature. Whenever the outside temperature is very cold, correct? So when you're inside, say for example, a place like London or maybe Quebec, maybe you are in Delhi, when it is winter, generally you have to worry about heating a lot. Air conditioning itself means heating for very cold countries like Scandinavian countries, correct? So there you will need heating, and heating, basic heating is electrical resistance based. That's what you're seeing as strip heaters. You have heat pumps, you have boilers, you have geothermal air conditioning, you have furnaces being used, and these all things will come under the heating half. Then you have ventilation. Ventilation is a process of removing bad air or stale air, smelly air, and replacing it with fresh air. So I can say ventilation and exhaust are opposite words. Ventilation is bringing in fresh air. When you open your windows, you are doing either of them, or you are throwing out the bad air. For example, you will see about positive air pressure and negative air pressure. Some of the ventilation projects that we do will be positive air pressurization based. Okay, we have to maintain positive pressurization inside, say, for example, a basement, or maybe inside a negative pressure inside a toilet. Understood? So factory ventilation systems are there. For example, you are going to a car manufacturer. The car manufacturer's company or car assembly floor will have lot of heavy machinery that will be emitting heavy amount of heat. That heat can affect the productivity of the people who are on the floors, as well as even the machineries which are on the floor. So you will need the heat to be removed from the system. So for that, you will be providing ventilation systems as well as exhaust systems. Understood? The chimneys that you see on power plant, top of thermal power plants, are an example for the same. You have underground tunnels, tunnel ventilation systems, mines, subways being ventilated. Understood? Likewise, then you have basement ventilation. This is one of the examples of tunnels. This is a car park ventilation picture that is being shown here. Here generally you have car parks when you have minus floor levels, -1, -2, or -3. Generally car parking means there will be a buildup of carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or other flue gases or other exhaust gases inside the basement, because you don't have any sort of natural ventilation happening there. So you have to force the issue by using fans, maybe ducts, axial fans. The one you are seeing here is called as a tube axial fan. Understood? So these are the ways you can see as basement ventilation system. Then you have toilet ventilation system. When you are inside your home, a small exhaust fan will do the job. But when you are inside a very large toilet with 30 number of water closets, 20 number of urinals, or lavatories working together, there you will need what to be done. What to be done? You have to do the proper toilet ventilation system so that the foul smell is removed, as well as you have to bring exhaust air also. Understood? Exhaust air is being thrown out and fresh air is brought in, so that the cleanliness and the indoor air quality is maintained. Indoor air quality, we'll repeat that term again. Then you have kitchen ventilation. Kitchen ventilation is again a system where you have to maintain temperature levels inside the kitchen. Okay, so you have your kitchens being, say, some of the five-star hotels, your kitchens are temperature controlled for mandatory systems, like when you have high humidities and all, your kitchens are air conditioned. Understood? Likewise, you have to bring in a lot of good air, and you have to throw out a lot of steamy, smelly air from the kitchen spaces to improve the quality of your food, improve the workforce environment productivity also. And then comes air conditioning. Very simply, if you have air conditioning, somebody is asking you what is air conditioning, you can think about your hand. It is like 5 fingers which work together. Understood? You have temperature control, you have humidity control, you have air quality, you have air filtration, and air circulation or air distribution. Understood? So it is 5 things, and the priorities can change. For a common man, whenever we think as a common man, we would say air conditioning. For a person in Middle East, it will be cooling. For a person in, say, for example, Sweden, for him it will be heating. For a person, say, maybe in Australia, it can be both. And so it generally points to, the first thing is temperature control, because it is based on comfort. Then again, there are places, particularly the coastal regions very close to the equator, the tropical climate, where you have high levels of humidity. Understood? Humidity is nothing but water vapor content inside the air. Then you have the air filtration levels. Air filtration is about removing dust particles. For example, when you are doing an OT job, operation theater. Okay, just a second. I have raised hands here. Okay. Okay. Okay, Vivek and Meksami has raised their hands. Now, Meksami has told that it's not audible. Guys, can you respond whether it is audible or not? Anyone? Can you please respond whether it is audible or not? Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nidul. Thank you, Gurula. Thank you, Nidul. Okay, great. Actually, thank you. Meksami, please check from your end. It's something with your system or the phone that you are using, maybe. Please check from your end. Okay. So this is the idea. Like, you have the air quality, air filtration. That way, what we say, like you are going to a hospital, you have the operation theater, correct? Inside the operation theater, the priority is towards filtration. For example, when you have a multi-specialty hospital under IMA, okay, I'm bringing the hospital thing because of the COVID situation right now. You might have hearing IMA in a lot of news channels and all. IMA is Indian Medical Association, who have standards like NABH, National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Facilities. Under them, air filtration is a major thing to get the accreditation. For example, you have an operation theater. We have to follow also ISO standards like ISO 14,000 series. ISO 14644 is an air filtration standard. Okay, so these are the ones that you have. If you have any queries, you can come down to the chat window. I have raised hands, so for now I'll not be communicating as the session is going on. I'll not be unmuting you, but at the end of the session I'll be communicating you. I'll try to unmute and talk to you individually. Okay, so this is air filtration. Okay, great. Okay, now this is air filtration that we are talking about, and now you have air quality. Air quality, say, it's not only filtration. If you keep on recirculating the air, what will happen? The carbon dioxide or the carbon monoxide levels or the bad gases inside the air will concentration will go up, and what will come down? The oxygen levels will come down. Correct? Okay, so I don't want that to happen. I have to keep my quality of air by keeping up the oxygen levels high. I don't want unwanted microbials like bacteria or viruses inside the air, so I always try to keep my quality of air better. Understood? Most of you guys might have traveled in a car. Okay, the car has a fresh air mode. Correct? Why you need a fresh air mode? When you have somebody like automobile manufacturer builds his car, he is building it for better NVH. NVH means noise, vibration, and heat resistance. Understood? So I don't want external sound or external heat to interfere with my system. So the cabin will be completely insulated. But then once you insulate the cabin, the problem is that if you don't roll down the windows as an individual, you will be consuming the whole air and converting the oxygen inside the air into carbon dioxide, which is not healthy. You will start feeling stuffy after some time. If you don't have an option to roll down the windows, the next option is that you improve your air quality by pushing the fresh air mode. Understood? Likewise, then you have air distribution, that bringing cold air to each and every nook and corner of the building. You have seen ceiling fans or regular fans, they do only air distribution. They cannot do the other four. So as a complete air conditioning system, you will be able to do what? All the 5 systems together. Understood? Or 5 things together. So remember, it's your hand, 5 fingers, 5 parameters: temperature control, humidity control, air quality, air filtration, and air distribution. Okay, now let us move to the type of air conditioning systems. Okay, so you have the type of air conditioning systems. You have the centralized air conditioning systems and the non-centralized systems. So as far as the centralized air conditioning systems are concerned, or the non-centralized air conditioning systems are concerned, this is the centralized air conditioning system. The pictures are here. At the bottom right hand corner, before our logo, that's your chiller. That's a water cooled chiller. The middle one, the second one that you are seeing here as I move the cursor around, that's the air cooled chiller. This is a ductable package AC or a floor mounted package AC. These are your ceiling suspended package ACs or ductable split air conditioners. These are your VRFs or VRVs, variable refrigerant volume or variable refrigerant flow systems. That should be a packaged rooftop unit, which is being airlifted, in fact, or maybe crane lifted to be put on the top of a terrace. And that's so. These are some of the centralized air conditioning systems. Okay, so this is a VRF unit. This is a ductable split AC. This is a rooftop unit, rooftop package AC. This is a chiller, water cooled chiller. This is an air cooled chiller, and this is a Voltas ductable package AC. Okay, so these are your non-centralized air conditioning system. Somebody has scribbled on the screen again. I'll give that option. Stop that option if you want to do. Please remove that from the screen. That's from your side itself. And that's it. I don't want to do that. So somebody has scrolled a line on the screen. Okay, So you have your wall-mounted split air conditioners and your outdoor units sitting here. You have window ACs. You have floor standing verticals. Then you have your cassette ACs, or you have your FCUs. Understood? Okay. These are your refrigeration units. Okay. These are your refrigeration units, which are on the next slide. This is your split ACs that you might have seen, say like regular split ACs, wall-mounted split ACs. These are your old window ACs. These are verticals or tower ACs, as I say. These are DX fan coil units, and this is your cassette ACs or ceiling suspended split air conditioners, which are common non-centralized machines. So these are the larger ones, capacity wise. Okay, I can say this can go into thousands of tons. Okay, which is the capacity of air conditioning units. This is refrigeration. Mostly, I would say these are display cabinets, cold storages, where you can have both positive temperature as well as negative temperature. Particularly when it comes to refrigeration, a lot of people think that refrigeration is always negative application or below 0 degrees Celsius. Not always. Think in your home, you have a refrigerator, correct? Inside the refrigerator, you will have what? Both freezer space and general cabinet space, correct? Inside this freezer space, it's negative temperature. That's why you get ice there. Inside the cabinet space, you don't have generally around 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. That's why you generally don't freeze your water there. You have your so-called ice water sitting inside that. Okay. So you have the screens here. So this is examples of panel cold rooms. Okay. Why we do air conditioning? Basically, it is for human comfort or process application. Human comfort is the first priority that we all know. So when you see a air conditioning system inside a residential project or maybe a commercial project, inside a villa, inside an apartment, inside a mall, inside an office, inside an airport, inside a five-star hotel, a four-star hotel. Okay, these are all pointing towards comfort air conditioning. But you are going to say, for example, a manufacturing facility. There will be a process happen. And as I earlier told, high amount of heat can be there. It can affect the process badly. Understood? Okay, that process can be affected badly. So the productivity can be compromised. Or for example, we had done air conditioning or sort of partially air conditioning for a biscuit manufacturing facility. The issue was there. The issue was it was high humidity was an issue. What is the product quality of a biscuit? It should be crispy, correct? If it absorbs too much of humidity or too much of water vapor, what will happen? The crispness will be lost and you are compromising on the product quality. There, the air conditioning system was done not for human comfort. It was done for the process of manufacturing and packing biscuits. Understood? So likewise, this is an example. I can give you a number. So I don't want to go into those details, but again, this is an example for the same. Okay. So I hope you guys can clearly hear me. Okay. Great. Okay. Thank you. Okay. This is a human comfort range. Yes. Navneet. Okay. Thank you, Navneet. Just a second. Hold on. Okay. Fine. We are back. Something happened to the PowerPoint presentation. Again. Then. Okay. Everything is clear now. This is what we are discussing earlier, and this is the comfort zone. This is human comfort zone. As far as say, I start from Southeast Asia towards Middle East. Understood? This is what the comfort range is about. Understood? The best temperature, the best relative humidity. That's the range where we'll be comfortable. So between 22 and 26.5, a person in Dubai should be comfortable. A person in Delhi will be comfortable, or maybe a person in Kuala Lumpur will be comfortable. And the relative humidity ranges are also given like that. And where I'll get this information from, we have standards for the same. Understood? We have statistical analysis being done for the same by a lot of organizations, which we'll discuss later. Understood. And for temperature, you should know 22 to 26.5 degrees Celsius. Relative humidity is 40 to 60%. Humidity is nothing but, for simple terms, it is water vapor content in air. Now, these are all again basics. This is a basic session, so this is intro. I have to go through that. Correct. I'll not go to the large definitions and all. We should all know that heat is basically energy. Correct. And these are the units. Heat will transfer from one form to another. Heat will travel from hotter body to colder body. Okay, and these are the general units we have: calorie, joules, and BTU. As on the academic front, we have two units, correct? The imperial units and the SI units. So generally, the industry uses joules to represent it in SI units, that is standard units. Then you have your BTU, which is used under the imperial units. What is the full form of BTU? Okay, that is British Thermal Unit. Okay, we are following, so the international level, we are following a lot of European, American standards. And on the academic front, if you go to US, they will be using the imperials as a units. So we have to learn both of them. And the HVAC MEP line, it's good to know both of them. Understand? Now, as we move ahead, these are the type of transfer: conduction, convection, radiation. You guys may be thinking that this is not engineering at all. This is moving towards basic physics, school level physics. Yes, this is concepts, correct? I have my sun, which is the biggest energy source for Earth, correct? From sun. Yes, Jyotisharan. Okay, it's on chat window. Okay, great. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, chat window, I have just checked. Everything is fine. Wonderful. So think about sun. From sun, the heat is traveling to us. Okay, by what? Radiation. Correct? It's through vacuum or space. Once it reaches our atmosphere, then atmosphere is a combination of, you have air, you have a combination of lot of gases, correct? These gases through which the heat will come to us. So that is basically convection. Radiation is for no media or vacuum, and convection is for liquid or gases, and conduction is for solid media. So once the solar heat or light energy or heat energy, the combination, if hits at the outer wall of your room, outer wall of your office, or outer wall of your residence, it will transfer through the brick wall, correct? That brick wall is again solid, so that is conduction. So from sun till atmosphere, it is radiation. Inside the atmosphere till your brick wall, it is convection. Once it hits the brick wall, it is your conduction. Understood? And after that, again, it is convection, which will bring the heat to us. So this is very important when you think in a technical manner. Understood? Clear? Okay. So again, this is again basics, bit of thermodynamics, thermal engineering. Type of heat: what is sensible heat, latent heat? Generally a 2-mark question, entry level question in every university across the globe who learns mechanical engineering or who are into thermal engineering. And you have sensible heat and latent heat. Pretty simple. If I take water as an example, I keep water for boiling in the mornings so that I can make a tea. Understood? Say from the tap, from the domestic water, potable water supply, I get say 20 degrees Celsius water. I keep it inside a vessel, switch on my stove, heat comes up, boils, 20 degrees Celsius, water turns into 80 degrees Celsius. There is no state change. 20 degrees Celsius, water to 80 degrees Celsius water. There is water is water. There is no state change, but there is only temperature change. Understood? That's sensible heat gain. Now, latent heat, you should have got the point by now. Latent heat means there is no state change. There is only state change. There is no temperature change. Remember, from engineering, you will have latent heat of fusion or latent heat of vaporization. Okay, don't be bored. I am not boring you guys. Just I am trying to make use of our academics inside the industry. Okay, so latent heat, sensible heat is there is only temperature change, no state change. Latent heat means only state change, no temperature change. Latent heat of fusion, 0 degrees Celsius water to 0 degrees Celsius ice. 0 is 0. But your water is turning to ice. Latent heat of vaporization, 100 degrees Celsius of water to 100 degrees Celsius of water vapor. Understood? That's latent heat of vaporization. So these two are involved. Now you are trying to air condition the room. You are trying to cool a room. What is happening? You are trying to remove these two heat. Actually, correct? You are trying to remove these two. You are reducing the heat, so the temperature comes down. Increasing heat means the temperature goes up. Correct? So you are trying to reduce the heat if you are trying to cool. So what heat you are removing? You are reducing. You are reducing sensible heat and latent heat. Now I'll ask you. Inside, you are sitting in front of a phone, or you are sitting in front of the computer, right, or laptop. What heat is coming out of it? It's electrical energy, and that electrical energy is getting converted into what energy? Sensible heat energy. Understood? Now your tube lights are there, or the CFLs are there, the LEDs are there, the lights, they have light energy and heat energy coming out. There is no phase change. You have only sensible change. Understood? So you have that type of heat. Again, now you consider your body. Understood? Your body is generally at 37 degrees Celsius. You should not go above 37 degrees Celsius, unfortunately, in this season. So if your thermal scanners across the public spaces, everyone will check out whether your temperature is below 37 or it is not exceeding 37. Above 37 degrees Celsius means it is a fever. Understood? So our body is 37. And what you are setting in your remote when you are inside a AC space, you generally set it at 23, 24 to be comfortable, correct? So inside a AC space, from your body, heat is going towards into the room. What type of heat is going from your room into the room from your body? Your body has sensible heat and latent heat, because 37 to 22 is sensible heat. Latent heat is about what? When you breathe, when you perspire, you have what? Latent heat. When you breathe out, the water, when you breathe out or when you sweat, generally water vapor will be coming out, and that water vapor has to be turned out into water and thrown out, correct? When your AC works, there will be drain pipe or water dripping outside, correct? How it drips, that is nothing but latent heat energy being removed. Okay, and this is the explanation for the unit of refrigeration or unit of air conditioning across the globe, the maximum used one. The rate of heat transfer that results in freezing or melting of 1 short ton of pure ice in 24 hours. Okay, so this is general explanation. So somebody is asking you, what is the unit of refrigeration? What is the unit of air conditioning? The first answer should be tonnage of refrigeration. TR, capital T, capital R. Understood? And the different conversions I've given you just for the reference. You can use kilowatt, you can use horsepower, you can use kilocalories, you can use British thermal units per hour. All the conversions are given. Okay, of course, these are also good to know. Some of the manufacturers, for example, we are talking about a chiller. Generally on the chiller tags from Carrier. Carrier is one of the American manufacturers. They will have kilowatts. They will not represent TR. So different units can be always there. Understood? If you have distance, you have meter, you have feet, you have inch, you have mm, you have centimeter. Likewise, different units can be there for the same thing. But generally, in our industry, the maximum capacities will be shown in TR. Okay. Now, this is the basic thing. I will not elaborate it, but again, to achieve refrigeration or air conditioning, you need the cycles, the refrigeration cycles, and the generally used cycles will be compression cycle and absorption cycle. And as far as the compression cycle, as a refrigerator, as a small split AC in your home itself, there is a vapor compression refrigeration cycle. Okay, you have an evaporator, you have a condenser, you have a throttling device or expansion valve, and you have a compressor, correct? So this is always there, and you have the absorption cycle. I'll tell you this small difference. Okay, compression cycle, vapor compression refrigeration cycle is cleaner. Vapor absorption cycle can be a bit polluting to the environment. Understood? So you have to be careful with what you choose. Okay, as a refrigerant. So this is your simple vapor absorption cycle where you have a generator and absorber rather than you have your what as your compressor system. Okay. So when you find cleaner technology being used in general residential and commercial projects, most of the cases it will be a vapor compression refrigeration cycle. You go to a factory, you go to a thermal power plant where you have option of running the generator using the hotter flue gases or some heat source. or by burning a hydrocarbon fuel or petroleum products. There you may have the option of having a vapor absorption cycle. So most of the industry which is working on the comfort front is working only on compression cycle. Okay. Now this is another term you might have learned, psychrometry. Okay, psychrometry is nothing but the study of properties of air. When you have air, when you do air conditioning, you are doing different things to air, and when you are doing air conditioning, you are changing the properties of air. So you should know the properties of air. So understanding is called as these properties is called as psychrometry. And these are the properties that you will have: dew point temperature, relative humidity, humidity ratio, dry bulb temperature, wet bulb temperature. I'm not going to elaborate the whole, I'm not going to define it, but these are the ones which you have learned. Okay. And these are the processes. When some parameter changes, properties change, what will change? New processes will happen. So when you increase temperature, dbt, heating happens, cooling, humidifying, dehumidifying. When you are in Middle East or generally in India, we are mostly worried about cooling and dehumidification during the summer. And in winter season, we are worried about heating and humidification. And there are places where you will require cooling and humidification also, where the humidity is too low and temperatures can be very high. This is chart, if you remember, for your remembrance from the physics part or from the engineering thermal half, you will have this. Understood? So this is a psychrometric chart, and this is evaporative cooling. This is a process diagram. So one point to another point, if you plot, we'll understand what process is happening. Understood? And you have the refrigerants. First, you are banned. You can know chlorofluorocarbon is banned. Hydrochlorofluorocarbon is always being banned now. Almost most of the countries are not using in them in newer systems. What we are using currently is hydrofluorocarbons, and we have R134A, R32, R410A, R407C. These are all refrigerants which are being preferred now. There is a lot of research being done on the fourth category, which is not there inside the slide. That is hydrofluoroolefins, okay, which may be developed later, but this is going on right now. So earlier, there were people who will say that, okay, inside newspaper articles, then it will say, okay, we are using refrigerants. Due to refrigerants, ozone layer depletion is happening and all. I don't want that to happen. Understood? So generally, the research has been there. The chlorine atom is removed here, so you don't have ODPs now. That is ozone depletion potential. Rather, we are on the environment front. We are working towards something called as GWP. Okay, please don't scribble on the screen. I'm giving you access. Don't do that. Okay, please. Somebody has put the lines. Please remove that. So you have your hydrofluorocarbon here. Understood? That is R134A, R125, and R32, which is having zero ODP, but they have generally GWP. What is global warming potential? We celebrated World Environment Day recently. So global warming potential is any chemical is there. Its value against the index of 1 kg of carbon dioxide is calculated, and we'll arrive a value. So it is against carbon dioxide, we'll measure up all the chemicals. That's your thing. So you have your ducting material, ducting, fluid mechanics, and from thermal engineering, heat and mass transfer, sort of I'm moving towards production technology and fluid mechanics, correct? So you have ducting material. GI is a very common thing. GI sheet metal, aluminum sheet metal is used for specialized applications. Fabric ducting is there. Polyurethane form, or like say PI ducting, pre-insulated ducting is there. Ducting material, that is flexible aluminum foil ducts are there. So these are all materials which are used for ducting. And as an engineering person, generally we will learn about fluid mechanics, and inside fluid mechanics you learn about flow through ducts, pipes, and conduits. So that's where the applications are. So these are thumb rules. The thumb rule for basic sizing is continuity equation. Okay, we are using A1 B1 is equal to A2 V2. Generally, we will use that. That equation itself is used as a thumb rule for duct sizing, which I don't want to elaborate right now. But this is an intro class. You have piping material as copper piping. Generally, you use copper piping for smaller machines. You have secondary piping. There is water piping that will be generally done with mild steel. Okay. Then you have heat load calculations being done. Okay, so these are all things which are there inside the industry. Understand? So okay, Fine. So this is heat load calculations as far as thing is concerned. Your heat load calculation is used to arrive the load of a building. Understood? How much of capacities are required? That load is arrived. That thing is needed from the equations. So in this again, I brings to heat transfer. Q is equal to UA delta T. We use Excel sheets. We can use carry re20 form. You have Autodesk Revit being used. Revit MEP you might have heard as a BIM or building information modeling software, which has the option of doing heat load calculation, heat load analysis. So by doing heat load analysis only, you will be able to understand the capacity of the AC that you need or the refrigeration unit that you need. Understood? So the basic equation is Q is equal to UA delta T that you have also learned. Most of you guys which are come from mechanical background or the physics background, you should know this thing. Q is heat transfer, U is heat transfer coefficient, A is area, and delta T. Understood? So these are things, and now you have the standards inside the industry. Okay, so this is where I wanted to come earlier. Also, I told that we have to follow a lot of standards because there is validation and industry standards being used like ASHRAE, that is American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers. You have ISHRAE, Indian Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. You have SMACNA, that is Sheet Metal and Air Conditioning Contractors National Association. That's again American. The second one is Indian. The first one and the third one are American. ASME, when you select a piping material, you have to use what ASME piping material. Understood? So for now, I'm locking the meeting. Understand? So you have the ASME standards being used. Understood? So this is how we'll be moving ahead. Understood? NBCI is the National Building Code of India, which is a reference. So these are engineering standards which will follow. For example, we were talking about fresh air, indoor air quality. We have a standard called as ASHRAE 62.1. This ASHRAE is the main standard which will release the handbooks. Inside the handbook, if you refer the code, that is 62.1, will give you details about the ventilation requirements. And these are the three type of companies that will have, like generally every MEP or every industry that we have will have these things. That is manufacturing, consulting, and contracting. Understood? So this is your job profile of the HVAC engineer. Generally, we have sales and marketing, design and estimation, projects, planning, purchase, service and maintenance coming into picture. So again, when I come back to the slide, like manufacturing, consulting, and contracting, maximum number of openings generally arise in the contracting sector and also inside the consulting option. So you have companies like Blue Star, Voltas, these type of companies which work towards achieving lot of industrial manufacturing plants also, as well as they take up large projects. For example, we have in South India, there is a very large IT tower coming in Cochin. That's a 30-story Sans Infinite building, which is done by Blue Star. Understood? So Blue Star is India's company. Likewise, if you talk to a person, like we have a project which is in line in UAE, that is in Ras Al Khaimah, UAE, that is Hampton by Hilton. That's a 4-star hotel which is coming up there. That's been done by the air conditioning systems are done by from Media. That is from company called China, from Chinese company. When we are doing a air conditioning system design in Qatar, Doha, where the system is being taken from Train, that's again an American company. Understood? So there are a lot of players. You have named the country. They will, if it's a very large country or if it's a developed nation, they will surely have air conditioning manufacturers with them. So for India, it's Blue Star and Voltas. As an Indian company, I should say that they are into manufacturing and contracting a lot. You from US, the regular names are Carrier, York, Train, Pan World. They have presence, okay, across all the continents. So you have the carriers ones. If you talk to the Japanese, they will say Daikin, Fujitsu, Mitsubishi, Hitachi, Toshibas. They all have these air conditioning products. You talk to the Koreans, they have the Samsungs, the Sanyos, the Panasonics, which come from the Korean market. If you talk to the UK based person, they will say Bitzer, which is a very reputed brand, and which comes from UK. And so these are world level players like MNCs, like multi business companies like Johnson, Sterling Wilson, or say companies like SNC Lavalin, who are into multi businesses, who are into this industry. Understood? And these all companies will have these type of divisions, like sales and marketing will be there, design and estimation, projects, planning, purchase, and maintenance will be there. Understood? Okay. Clear? I hope this helps. We'll be discussing at the end of the session for sure. Okay. Now, as we move ahead, as I'm going back to 2 slides. For example, these all companies will be following these standards also. Understood? Okay. So if you have the standards being used, okay, these ASHRAE standards, ISHRAE standards, MACNA, ASME, these will give you engineering standard, design standards, and solutions towards doing what the design as well as the engineering solutions. For example, design you have different standards. For material selection you have different standards, and you have quality control different standards. ASHRAE will generally give you the material and the design standards. For quality control, you may have to talk to ASME. For example, you are doing mild steel piping. What diameter mild steel piping you should use? How much pressure you should have inside the pipe? How much friction the pipe should have? At what temperature they should be operating? These all data will be there with ASHRAE. Now, what thickness the pipe should have, what density the pipe should have, what schedule the pipe should have, that will be from the ASME part. Understood? Likewise, so you have inside the same industry, you have different standards. Now, likewise, when you come to the companies, you have manufacturing, consulting, and contracting. I was earlier saying Blue Star. They do both manufacturing and contracting. If you say Carrier, they are doing both manufacturing and contracting. Some of the cases say like L&T, you have the consulting companies, you have somebody has marked it out. Consulting is like project management consultants. Say for example, you are Hampton by Hilton, okay, or Hilton Hotels, or your Marriott's, or your this thing is there. Your business potential or your business knowledge is based on running a hotel or hospitality industry. Your job is not doing HVAC systems. So you will hire a PMC guy or a project management consultant who will do the engineering for you, who will find the correct contractor for you, who will ensure that the money that you keep inside the industry is going in the right hands. Understood? This is done by the consulting half. Okay, I hope it helps. Then, so generally you have the design people and the projects people working in contracting and consulting. That's where the maximum number of opportunities generally come. Now, come back to this. This is a contractor mode of thing. If you talk to somebody from Carrier or you talk to somebody from Train in any country, they will have these departments. Every business will start with sales and marketing, and subsequently it will move towards design, projects, planning, purchase. You need coordinators, procurement people, even logistics also is a very important role in our industry right now. Service and maintenance, shutdown maintenance, all those projects are being done. So this is the way, and this is brief about the company. You might have heard about the firm, you might have gone through the background. So this is a part of ACE India. We have been doing this training programs as well as design, all those things. This is our services. As you see, we have been doing training programs in HVAC, firefighting, plumbing, and electrical systems, and this is HR services also, which we have been providing for a very long time. We also provide HVAC design services as well. That is your MEP consultancy. Okay, so we have the offices like this. These are the locations that we have. So you should know these things. And we have been providing direct classroom training programs, that is offline training programs, and we have been providing 100% online training programs with full-time trainer interaction. That is always there. And subsequently, we are always following the major industrial standards, and the certifications after the programs are always even. Professional development hours are there. Real-time project works we do, and all the work that we assign you is nothing but, like, say, it's not like we teach and go. We share experiences, what we have experienced inside last say 10 or 15 years. For me, my example, as a trainer, if I am coming in front of you, I have around 14 to 15 years of experience inside the industry. So what 15 years, what all things, if when I talk about a chiller, what is there inside the nearby building, or what is there inside the project that I have done, or what is there inside the project that I know, that type of method where you are taught in a very easy manner and very understandable manner, that we do. And also, when you take up the programs in India, particularly in South India, below Bombay and Bombay and onwards, below, we are helping placement with placements also. Understood? And we also give dedicated training programs in Revit MEP and Autodesk AutoCAD. Understood? So this is the contact details for us. And I am for now, I am going into the chat window. If you have any clarifications, you can come into that window. You can talk to me. I can share the details with you. Okay, any clarifications you can type inside the chat window right now. Or if you are raising your hands, Jyothisharan has raised his hand. I can unmute him. He can ask a question. Jyothisharan? Hello? Hello? Jyothisharan, you have a doubt?
No, sir.
No, you don't have any clarifications.
No.
Oh, okay, it's okay, fine. Now,
Okay.
I am muting you for your time. Senthil Nathan. Okay, I am unmuting you. Yeah, tell me, Senthil.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Just for checking, I just need to know that you have mentioned during you were saying that you'll be providing the training sessions. Do the training session? The paid training. Do the paid training will be accompanied with all those involvements of HVAC engineer in terms of like selection of the equipment and sizing of the ducts and
Yeah, correct. That's a very nice question, Senthil. I have not included the catalog inside this thing. Okay, generally I don't do that. We have been teaching. I hope you guys can hear properly, right? Okay, Senthil has a very valid question. What all we teaching inside HVAC? Inside HVAC, we are teaching introduction to HVAC. First of all, this is a session generally I take on the first day. Then second day, I'll be moving towards detailed psychrometry and different type of refrigerants and brines. Understood? So that will be the basic, actually, which you have learned during your engineering curriculum, starting from physics onwards to your mechanical engineering. That will be covered. Okay, correct. Then you, as I move forward, I will be teaching regarding different type of air conditioning systems. Okay, that is your non-centralized AC, starting from window AC, split air conditioners, moving onwards to the VRF package units and the chillers. So this is how I will be explaining. And once I reach that point, I'll move towards the design half. That is your heat load calculation, how to do it in manual method, how to do it in an Excel sheet, how to do it in HAP software. Because in India and all, mostly in Middle East and all, everyone is using Excel sheets first, and depending on the country, the softwares can change. In Australia and all, there is a software called as Camel, understood, which is used. In you have Elite, you have proprietary softwares also, understood. So likewise, then you, if you take up once you get the load, you will be able to select the equipment. And when the equipment selection is done, if it is centralized air conditioning system, you have extensively ducting and piping. So you have to learn about how to size a duct, how to do the AutoCAD drawings, how to do the selection of the valves, fittings, accessories, insulation. You have to learn in a way where you have to learn it in a technical way. And that's not only design, you have to learn about how your it's used inside the industry. Like, it's not only design. You don't get a job in design alone. You can get a job in site engineer. You can get as a job as a project engineer. You can get into service also. So when you do heat load calculation, you should get the concepts properly. We'll do that, and along with that, in ducting and also we'll teach about drawings. Also, we'll teach about design and also about installation. Understood? How the ducts are fixed, how the ducts are erected, how the ducts are made from factory. Okay, what material it is used. All those things will be covered. Like, again, this goes for piping also. Fans, pumps, compressor selection, cooling tower selection, how they work, what are the internal parts, what type of fans you have, how the fan is fixed inside a machine, why that type of fan is preferred. Understood? These are all details where you can use the knowledge in a technical and non-technical manner, as well as starting from sales, design, projects, estimation, every department, commonly how you have to use, that way we'll teach. Lastly, we'll teach regarding installation, field direction practices. We'll make you do 2 or 3 live projects that we have done as a company, real-time projects as a design company we have done. That projects will be given you to work on. Understood? And after the program, we'll help with the certifications also. This is what we do, Santan. Understood? I hope it helps. Clear?
Okay, sir. It's crystal clear.
Okay.
But my query is that as of now, I'm working in Singapore. I have been here in this HVAC field since I completed my graduation in the year of 2014.
Great.
I have been working in Gulf, and I secured my job to Singapore, and I'm working here presently in a company, EPC company, as a HVAC assistant HVAC engineer.
Great.
But as of now, I have not much familiar. I am not much familiar in the part of designing and calculations, as you said,
Okay.
like normal pressurization, selection of the louvers, and selection of
Mhm.
some other equipments, like heavy equipments like chiller,
Mhm.
like that. So in order to learn those things, not now, after this COVID situation, after this, if I am coming for a leave, I need to know the duration so that it will be helpful for me to join and
Okay.
accompany.
You can do one thing, Senthil. No issues. After the COVID situation, once you plan to travel to India, you have this email ID on the screen, correct? hr@theasindia.com.
Yeah, yes.
You can always forward an email to that. We will respond.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
take a note.
I am one of the persons who is responsible for that email ID. Okay. Understood.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So that's why
Take a
I've
note on
kept
that
that
one.
on the screen. We have another one also, that is info. You can send to both of them. I have kept this in the screen because inside this presentation I have kept that because it's my job to take care of this email. Okay. So me and one of my colleagues, we both of them in turns, we take care of the HR at the end of the day. So always you can forward to that. Okay. Great.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. I hope this
Thank you.
helps.
Thanks for the info and thanks for the training session. It is much helpful,
Yeah.
and it gives a better understanding for those guys who haven't went through several topics, even in their engineering studies,
Correct.
like MEP and HVAC,
Yeah,
and we have some other ELB related trainings
Correct.
also,
Yeah.
which they should have understand the basic of MEP,
Correct, Senthil.
so that it will be helpful for upcoming graduates to get a proper position in the basic timing of their build up situation, so that which will be helpful for them to build a good future in this construction
Correct.
sector.
Thank you, Senthil, for the appreciation. You are working inside an engineering procurement company. That's great. You are planning to develop the knowledge inside the industry. That's wonderful. Again, you come back to us. If it's possible from our end, we are surely do that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Thanks
Sure.
to all. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I have raised hands from Sharanan Kumaran. Okay, I'll just unmute you.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sharana. Tell me.
Sir, before you starting a session, you told about air conditioning, sir. So I want to know about the difference between air conditioning and air cooler, sir.
See, air cooler. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where are you currently located, Sharana?
Salem, sir.
Salem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You are at Salem, and
Yes, sir.
generally, air cooler is not a complete air conditioning system. Okay. What you do use is that inside air cooler, you have a top portion where you have this tray where you pour your ice water or you keep your ice cubes. Correct.
Okay, sir.
From there, the water will percolate over the mesh, and you are just passing over the air. Psychrometric process wise, if you are seeing, it is called as evaporative cooling. It will cool, but it will increase the water vapor. Okay. So you are in Chennai, which is almost, sorry, you are in Salem, correct? You are in Salem, that means it is almost landlocked. So here the humidity levels will be lower. So you can use an air cooler there. But if I take my air cooler to Chennai, which is coastal, where you have high levels of humidity, your cooling will be done, but inside the room, humidity will be so high that you will have respiratory issues or you will have start sneezing, you have skin issues, likewise. So the air cooler is not a complete air conditioning system all the time. It can be used as an evaporative cooling. The process, psychrometric process which happens inside the air cooler is called as evaporative cooling and humidification. Understood? Salem being almost landlocked, or say, for example, you go North India, like a place like Nagpur, Nasik, Gwalior, Bhopal, where it is completely landlocked. There is no sea influence. There is very dry type of climate. There, air cooler or your desiccant air cooler systems or evaporative will be a great success. Understood? Even
Okay,
if
sir.
you don't want to go with lower temperatures, there, like say, for example, you're from Chennai, sorry, if you're from Tamil Nadu, so you should know Royal Enfield's second factory from Oragara. Okay, Chennai. Okay, there they have done for temperature control, they have done evaporative cooling systems only, which is like a large centralized air cooler. Understood? Okay, that's a very classic example that I can tell you.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Thank
And
you, sir.
air conditioning means you don't humidify. You can dehumidify, you can humidify, you can cool, you can heat, you can do all the things if you want to do. Understand?
Okay, sir.
Okay. But your
Thank you, sir.
normal non-centralized machine is not capable of doing all those things. Okay. Fine. Sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm muting you. I have raised hands from nobody else. I don't have any raised hands. You guys were hearing it properly. I hope this helps. Okay, anybody else? If you have any queries, okay, you can raise your hands. I can respond for sure. Okay, if you don't want to speak with me, you can always use the chat window that is always there. Okay. 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 After the session, please go through our Facebook page. There, this whole thing have been going in right now as I speak. It is going live, and that's, you can search inside Facebook as ACE India MEP. Why I'm asking to go through the Facebook page is that you will be able to see what we have been doing in the terms of pictures, particularly from our 3 branches. As far as the corona situation, unfortunately, as a training institution, we are not being able to open up on the direct classes, but we have been doing very effectively online classes for both individual training, classroom training programs, online classroom training programs, as well as corporate level training programs. We have been taking training programs for companies also. Understood. So this is a great session. Thank you for the patience, guys. You have been very much helpful. I have almost cleared almost your doubts. Anything is there, the second number on the screen, this is 9957000074. That's mine. You can make a note of that. Okay, you can call me, you can WhatsApp me all the time. Okay, any queries are there, I will always try to support you. Thank you, Sharana. Thank you, Babu. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Kartika. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you, all of you guys. Thank you, Jishnu. Thank you for your time. You have been patiently seeing this. You have any clarifications on the friend Wahidul Alam? I have a friend from Bangladesh. Okay, who have been in touch for a very long time. Okay, so we had been talking to each other before 3 months. Unfortunately, the corona situation striked up and we couldn't meet each other. But great. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, Senthil again. Thank you, Nani. The nice class, sir. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot, Revati. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Akshay. Thank you. Okay, this is how you build up. Okay, guys, when you learn something, learn in a way where anything that's not only related to HVAC or mechanical or anything. When you learn something, learn in a way where you can use it in somewhere. Like you have learned something like sensible heat, something like latent heat when you're engineering college. Most of the newer end engineering people don't know where to use it. This is where you use it. I brought it Q is equal to UA delta T or continuity equation or sensible heat, latent heat. These are small things. Most of them that you learn during your engineering curriculum. But this is how you use it. Understood? How to use it inside a real-time industry. Thank you for your time and winding it up. Thanks a lot. Make a note of the second phone number. This is the email ID. Anytime you can contact us. Please visit our Facebook page also. Okay, thanks a lot guys. Thank you Logesh, thank you Kumaresh again. Okay, thanks to everyone. I'm winding up the session. Thanks for your time.